never move through life like this. Most men walk like they're apologizing for existing. Their heads are down, shoulders hunched, just scrolling their phones like zombies, making decisions based on whatever feels comfortable instead of what builds something. And they wonder why they feel invisible, while other guys seem to have this magnetic energy that just commands attention. Here's what everyone's getting wrong about why some men get left behind while others lead the pack. It's not talent, it's not money, it's not even luck. It's something you can see in the first 3 seconds when they walk into a room. Something that shows up in how they move, how they think, how they decide, how they exist in space. And the crazy part, most men are doing exactly the opposite of what actually works. By the end of this video, you'll know the real difference between men who drift and men who direct, and how to become the second type, starting right now. Because while everyone's talking about finding your purpose, they're missing the actual psychology of what makes some men unstoppable. I used to be the drifting type, 20-something, trapped in a soul-crushing sales job, sitting in traffic every morning, wondering if that was all there was. I'd hit the gym, but without any real goal. I was just showing up because I thought I should. I'd make decisions based on what was easy, not what was building toward anything. I was busy all the time, but I felt like I was just running in the same spot. And I couldn't figure out why other men seemed to have this presence, this confidence, this energy that made people actually listen when they were speaking. And then one day, I'm walking out of my office after another tough day, pointless day, and I see this guy crossing the parking lot. Everything about how he moved was different. His posture was upright, his pace was deliberate, his eyes locked straight ahead. He wasn't checking his phone, he wasn't slouching, he wasn't apologizing for taking up space. He was moving like he owned every step. And that's when it clicked. The way you move through life isn't a reflection of your confidence. It's what creates your confidence. Men without direction drift through their days like they're waiting for permission to exist. Men with direction move like they own the outcome, and everyone around them can sense the difference immediately. But here's where it gets interesting. Scientists have actually mapped out what happens in your brain when you move with purpose versus you're just going through the motions. When you have clear direction, your prefrontal cortex becomes more active. That's your planning and decision-making center. Your posture literally changes. Your testosterone increases. Your presence becomes magnetic. Research shows that people can detect confidence and direction within 150 milliseconds of seeing someone. So before you even speak, they've already decided if there's someone worth following or someone they can ignore. But here's a plot twist that changes everything. Most men think purpose is some grand mission that they need to discover, some calling from the universe that'll hit them like lightning. So they wait for clarity while life passes by. But purpose isn't mystical, it's mechanical. It's about developing what I call the movement code. 3 specific ways you can immediately start moving with intention instead of just drifting through life. And when you master all 3, you become the type of man that others look at and think, I want whatever he has. But first, let me tell you what happened when I cracked this code. People started treating me differently at work. Not because I got promoted, but because I carried myself like someone who was building toward something bigger. Women responded to me differently, not because I got better looking, but because I moved with intention instead of desperation. Other men started asking for my advice, not because I became smarter, but because they could sense I had figured out something that they hadn't. The same opportunities were always there, but now I was moving through life in a way that allowed me to see them and actually take action. Here's the movement code that changed everything. First pillar, physical dominance. This isn't about being the biggest guy in the room. It's about moving your body like you believe You deserve to take up that space. Most men walk like they're apologizing, slouched shoulders, eyes down, trying to make themselves smaller. But men who understand the movement code train with specific goals. They walk with their shoulders back and eyes forward. They move through space deliberately with intention. When I started training for my first marathon, everything shifted. Not because running was magical, but because every workout had a purpose. Every step was building towards something specific. And that physical intentionality started showing up everywhere else. Second pillar, mental architecture. This is about how you structure your thinking and decision making. Drifting men react to whatever happens. They make choices based on feelings and hope things work out. But men who have cracked the movement code direct their thinking. They have systems for decisions. They plan weeks in advance. They think in terms of building something, not just getting through the day. I started planning my weeks every Sunday, not just work stuff, but literally everything. When I'd train, what I'd focus on, who I'd connect with. And suddenly I stopped feeling like life was happening to me and started feeling like I was creating it. Third pillar, social magnetism. This is where most men completely miss the point. They think being social means being likable or being agreeable. But real social magnetism comes from moving through conversations with direction. Drifting men follow whatever topic comes up. They say what they think people want to hear. Men with the movement code lead conversations toward what matters to them. They're comfortable with disagreement because they know what they stand for. When I stopped trying to please everyone and started speaking my actual thoughts, something weird happened. People respected me more, not less. Because they could sense I was moving with intention, not just following whatever seemed safe. This is the movement code: physical dominance, mental architecture, and social magnetism. All three are working together to create unstoppable momentum. But here's the part that'll make you angry. The reason most men never develop this isn't because they can't. It's because they're stuck playing by the rules that don't work anymore. They're told to find their passion instead of building systematic momentum. They're told to be themselves instead of becoming the version of themselves worth being. They're told to go with the flow instead of creating their own current. And while they're following that advice, other men are using the movement code to build the life they actually want. Here's what happens if you don't develop this code. You drift through another year wondering why nothing changes. You watch other men get promoted, get the relationships you want, build the life that you're dreaming about. You stay stuck in the same patterns, making the same choices, getting the same results. Because without the movement code, you're not moving towards anything. You're just moving through time. But when you master this system, everything shifts. Your confidence comes from knowing where you're going, not hoping things work out. Your presence comes from moving with intention, not trying to impress people. Your results come from systematic action, not random BS. People start seeing you as someone who has their life together because you actually do. Now here's how you develop the movement code starting today. Get absolute clarity on where you are and what you're building toward. Not some vague idea of success or happiness. Specific outcomes with specific timelines. What does your body look like in 12 months? What does your career look like in 2 years? What kind of man are you becoming in 5 years? Once you have that clarity, every action becomes part of the movement code. Every workout builds towards something specific. Every decision moves you closer to your target. Every conversation becomes practice for the man that you are becoming. This is how you transform from someone who drifts to someone who directs. And the change happens immediately. Your posture improves because you're moving towards something real. Your confidence increases because you know exactly where you're going. Your presence becomes magnetic because people can sense your direction. Look, if you're done drifting and you're ready to build your own movement code, I help men develop exactly this kind of systematic, purposeful action. Not through motivation or mindset tricks, but through building real systems for all three pillars. I've got strategy calls available for men who are serious about making this shift from drift to direction. Links in the description. Comment movement if you're ready to stop apologizing for existing and start moving like you own the outcome. Because the world doesn't need more men who are finding themselves. It needs more men who are building themselves. Time to become one of them.